There is nothing like reading a good mystery, am I right? It's like so fun to have that suspect list to go over, the whole plot to puzzle over and piece together. It's just a good, unique, craveable reading experience all its own. It's one of my favorite genres. So it's the end of the year, and that means I get to be super judgy and compare all the books I've read over 2018. So I'm putting together 5 lists across 5 of my most read genres, and today, of course, we are doing best mysteries of the entire year, according to me. So let's go ahead and dive in. But before we do, I just want to say, make sure you check out the other genres that you might be interested in. There's things like nonfiction, horror, suspense thrillers, all that jazz. So I will leave links in the bio if you want to check out any of the other end of the year wrap up videos. So without further ado, let's jump into it. First up is Big Woods by May Cobb. It's a satanic panic thriller set in Texas in the 1980s, and girl, I enjoyed the heck out of it. Now, I get a lot of requests from authors to be featured on my blog or Instagram, and I say no a lot of the time. But this time I didn't. Something about the description and the title intrigued me, and I'm so glad that I said yes. It was one of those books that surprised me in the best possible way. It was better than I ever hoped. It's about a string of child disappearances around Big Woods in Texas, and there are 2 sisters at the entire dynamic of the story. The younger sister goes missing along with those other children, and the elder sister takes the investigation into her own hands with the help of dual perspectives from an elder woman in the town. Both this elderly woman and Leah, the elder sister, have answers that the other needs to find peace and resolve the issues that this mystery presents. Really enjoyable from start to finish. I loved the sister dynamic, and I loved having an older character be one of the main points of view. I don't think that happens enough. So really well done if you are interested in that entire era of satanic panic, the West Memphis 3, all of that horrible stuff. She sort of takes that concept and fictionalized it based on true events, and it was really, really well done. I was very impressed, and I would absolutely read her again. Next up is The Color of B Larkins Murder by Sarah J. Harris. Unique perspectives are hard to find in any fiction, of course, and sometimes they're done extremely well. I will say that this one is very well researched and, in my opinion, perfectly executed. It follows a teenage boy named Jasper who has a rare condition called synesthesia, which basically means that whenever he hears a sound, he sees a color. It's a really interesting and completely real condition, and it was really interesting to see how that developed, especially in a mystery narrative. Jasper is a really interesting, unique person. He has a unique personality. He's also slightly autistic, and he also has no ability to recognize faces, so he can't really see anyone or identify anyone except based on like familiar clothes they wear or shoes or sometimes the color of their voices. So that in itself is a pretty interesting character to throw in the middle of a murder mystery. Jasper tries to figure out who did what in the murder of his siren-like next-door neighbor and all the surrounding neighborhood. He has an obsession with birds. He's really mean, but in like a funny way. So he's a really cool, unique, dynamic character. And I loved just reading his perspective on top of this sort of suburban mystery setting. Obviously, he has some things going against him, but he's determined to figure out the events surrounding his neighbor's murder. What happened? Who was involved? Was he involved himself, possibly? It's a very interesting, well-executed mystery story with a really cool, unique perspective at its center, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. It surprised me with this beautiful cover. I was worried that the contents wouldn't match, but they completely did. Next up is another suburban mystery called The Other Side of Everything. It was one of my first 5-star reads of 2018, so of course it had to make the end of the year list as well. I really enjoyed this, and it surprised me how good it was, especially coming from an author I'd never heard of or read before and a publisher at the time that I hadn't yet worked with. It is a suburban mystery about a group of neighbors in a well-established neighborhood where people start getting murdered, and it's clear that a certain demographic is being targeted. But while the mystery aspect is there, it's really literary and beautifully written, and there's moments that are so quotable and so relatable as a human, having a human experience, that you just want to highlight and tab the heck out of it. Really surprised me how in-depth it was without being overbearing. It's really character-driven and really about how we come together in the face of tragedy and how we form friendships. It's a really beautiful, beautiful story, but with that mystery edge to keep the pages turning. So if you think about it, it's really a literary fiction hiding under the guise of a whodunit, but it's really fun. I highly recommend it if you want something a little bit more lyrical and still are searching out that little bit of mystery. Next up is The Boy at the Keyhole by Stephen Giles. This is a mystery, but with a psychological edge. You're never quite sure who to trust until the very end, and that, my friend, is my favorite kind of mystery. It's neo-Gothic, set on a sort of isolated country estate. Pretty typical, right? But in the best way. And there's this little boy, and this is the perspective from which we're seeing the story. This young boy who's been left alone, his mother left in the middle of the night without saying goodbye, and he's left in the care of his housekeeper, who is clearly overwhelmed with bills she can't pay, wondering when she's going to hear again from her mistress, the woman of the house, who has disappeared and is only sending the occasional letter from America. So the housekeeper keeps telling the boy, "Your mother will be back. She's just in America." But the boy wonders, why would she leave without saying goodbye? Why doesn't she write more? Where is she? He really starts to question the truth of that tale, and you're just not sure like what is really going on until the very end. This is a really short, like quick book to read. It's definitely more psychological than anything else. So if that's your vibe, I say go for it. It also has those Gothic vibes, but in a slightly more modern setting. So just a really interesting combination of different facets and narratives that I really enjoyed. I love that it was from a young boy's perspective and that we're questioning everything the entire time. Like, what is going on? We need to know. So I would definitely recommend that one. My last pick is Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. This is for the mystery lover who enjoys a reread of Sherlock Holmes, who enjoys a good Agatha Christie, who is a traditional mystery lover. I swear Anthony Horowitz must be a vampire or have come out of the past or something, because he writes like a traditional mystery writer. You'd have no idea that this is from a modern writer if you would just pick this up on a shelf and it was an old-fashioned binding, I'm telling you. So it's for people who like that sort of distant detective, the murder in the grand estate, the long suspect list. It's sort of kept at a distance but with an analytical view, and really, really enjoyable if that is your vibe. I really hope you've enjoyed this list for the best mystery books of 2018. Be sure to check out the other lists for suspense thrillers, horror, general fiction, all that jazz. I will leave some links for you below as they come out. If you did like this video, do me a favor and give it a huge thumbs up. Drop a comment below. Let me know which mystery you've loved to read lately and which I should be adding to my list. And if you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, if you want more book reviews, unhauls, hauls, wrap-ups, basically all the good bookish stuff, then I'm your girl. So go ahead and press that subscribe button and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.